Everybody and their mother is playing Elden Ring these days, and I am no different. I know a lot of you are jumping into the game, into any Souls-like game for the first time because your friends hyped you for it, or the internet hyped you for it, and you might now be very confused, and you've heard that it's tough, and you will get slightly upset from time to time, but there's classes you can pick to maybe make things easier for you. So today I am ranking all of the starting classes, because they're just starting classes. You can be whatever you want to be later on if you so desire. Even if you start with, I don't know, a samurai, you can be a full-on magic user later. Something like that. In any case, I am ranking the starting classes from a perspective of a person who is playing Souls-like games for the first time, or maybe has a bit of an experience from it. So there's no hard feelings later on if you go, oh, I'm a Dark Souls expert and I've played it for thousands of hours and I think this should be S tier instead of B tier. Look, this is for people who haven't really played much of these games. So let's start. First, we begin with Astrologer. This is a full-on magic user, boy. You go out there, remember this, you start with the lowest health out of all of these. You is squishy. Very, very squishy. And in that case, your positioning is really gonna matter a lot. That being said, you do have magic, which you can wield with your staff. There's two ways of dealing magic in this thing. And this bad boy, it's got high intellect, it's got like the most mana, I believe. And basically you can cheese a lot of stuff with your magic stuff. But if you run out of mana and things come close to you, if you don't know how to really dodge stuff, being squishy, you're gonna die pretty fast. So this one, I think, if you get smart pretty fast, you can cheese a lot of like early enemies that you're gonna encounter, but you're still gonna have to learn how to survive. So I'm gonna put this one mid-tier B. I think it fits perfectly out there. It's just an okay class for everybody, I would say. Next on the list, we have a Bandit. Now, my boy Bandit starts with a small buckler, and it has a knife. Now, you might have seen some of these enemies. They're like 3 screens big, and you have a knife. So, what Bandit can do is you can expose enemies using your parry if you time it extremely correctly, because you have that thing, that stabby thing and a buckler and that stuff. But this is probably the class for which you need the most skill out of all these classes, and I am talking about a ranking for people who have literally no skill in Dark Souls-like games. So in my opinion, this being a pretty squishy class, I would rank it low. You also have very low damage with just normal attacks, because it's a knife. You don't really do that much damage. You do start with a short bow, but short bow, again, unlike a long bow, doesn't really do that much damage. So while you can shoot stuff from far, when they get to you, you need to be really quick with your fingers to time it perfectly. So I think for beginners, this is F tier. I'm sorry, Bandit, that's where you begin. Next on the list is a Confessor. It's called a Confessor, but it could just always be called an Assassin. So this bad boy uses incantation, which is different from the magic stuff that the Astrologer uses. The Astrologer uses a staff to cast his spells, and Confessor's got incantation, which he does like this, and stuff happens. Now, importantly over here, as a Confessor, you do have this sneaky skill that makes you like a perfect assassin. I don't know exactly what it's called, but you go sneaky, people won't hear your footsteps, so you can go behind them and assassinate them with your nice, cool-looking sword. This is a very good class for outdoors areas where you can pick and choose your enemies, you can assassinate them the way you want to, and defeat them easily that way. Of course, against bosses, that's not gonna work that well, but it's still pretty good, because you do have a shield you can use if you want to, and you can dodge and stuff. I think it's a very solid class, especially for outdoors, so I'm gonna put it into like high B. maybe it could be A. But let's put it in high B for now. I think that's decent. Next on the list is Hero. So Hero starts with light armor, and Hero, being a hero, also has giant battle axe. No, not a giant. You can get giant test later on, but it's a big axe you can swing, and this is the class that has the highest amount of strength. So if you're gonna go for strength build, this is a perfect start for you. You go with this bad boy, you'll be smacking enemies around with your big axe and destroying them. Now, that being said, this class is also stupid. I don't mean that it's bad with that, I mean it has the lowest mind and intellect attributes. So yeah, if you ever want to tickle the magic, this is really not the best class to start with, but it's quite mobile with light armor. It has the battle axe that can do a lot of damage, and it looks pretty freaking badass. In my opinion, Hero is A tier because I do like strength, so I guess this is a bit personal over here. I like strength. But I think this is a very, very good class for any starting player. So give it a try, maybe. Next on the list is a Prisoner. Now, while Prisoner might have a really cool and weird looking helmet, the Prisoner is a bit more of a hybrid class. It does have a rapier, which you can use to pierce enemies, and you poke them with your rapier. But also it has a staff, which you can use to cast your glint blade stuff. I think it's called glint blade. But anyway, glint stone magic, it's Flintstone's magic. It's what it is. Basically, you have a bit of magic, you have a bit of pokey stuff, but it's hybrid, so you're not really that amazing in anything. So you can use a bit of magic first to soften the enemies and then go and pierce them. But let's just say that the coolest thing about Prisoner is its helmet. So if you want that helmet to look cool, then maybe pick it. But otherwise, I think this is more of a C tier class. It doesn't really do anything that special. And again, while the glint blade magical thing might be kind of cool, it's still not too amazing. So Prisoner, yeah, I think it's a decent C tier, but it can't really, in my opinion, compare to some of these other boys. Next on the list is Prophet, and I prophesize that if you use the Prophet, you're gonna die quite a few times. Not that you're not gonna die using any other things. We all do. It's how it is. Anyway, Prophet focuses on incantations. I believe it has the highest faith out of all of these guys. He's not using magic, he's using incantations. So that means he does not need a staff. He just does this and fire happens. He starts with a heal and also like a fire touch spell incantation. So it does a shit ton of damage, but you have to be really close to an enemy. So the problem is with Prophet, while it can do a lot of damage, you need to be close. And if you are not very fast on your fingers, if you're not on fingers on your keyboard, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not at least a bit experienced, you're gonna have quite a few issues early on. Well, you're gonna try to do a lot of damage to the enemy, you're gonna get greedy, and the enemy is gonna kill you. So I think for a beginner, the Prophet is not that good. While for expert players, it's really, really good. I think I've seen like a video of a Prophet person fighting that first Tree Guardian boss, the big horsey boy on like level 5 or something. Never got hit, just burned that boss easily with no trouble whatsoever, and defeating him like with no problem. But I think for beginners, it's not that good. It also has like the lowest endurance out of all of this. I think it's a solid C. It's not a terrible start for sure, especially if you want to play the incantation build. It's solid, but yeah, C. Let's leave it there. Next on the list is the coolest looking class. It is Samurai. We all know samurais are cool. It starts with Uchigatana, or it's a katana. It's a katana which you can swing really fast, and stab everything. He has the highest endurance out of all classes, and it can, just swing that blade as much as he wants. And it's got the very high dex, not the highest dex, but the second highest, I think. and it can stab stuff pretty easily. And if that being said, you also start with a longbow that deals pretty good damage, so you can cheese a lot of enemies from range. I swear, flying enemies are the most annoying in any Souls games. And this bad boy can cheese some of those flying enemies with a good placed arrows, for sure. Samurai, I would say, for a starting player, it's a very solid A tier pick, and you should definitely give it a try, because as I said, you're gonna also look very, very cool. You got survivability, you got damage, you got range cheese, you got everything you want, man. Just go Samurai. Next on the list is the classic sword and board bad boy. It's the Vagabond. You know, when you think about games like this, you think about the guy with a sword, the guy with a big shield, you know, just going against everything, like that grizzled veteran, a mercenary of many, many wars. Nothing phases him. He can get hit like a million times. He's just gonna keep on pushing, keep on grinding. If you're into that fantasy, then Vagabond is your dude. If you want to try blocking and then counterattacking a lot, Vagabond is your dude. If you're new to this, the man's got the highest HP, the highest vigor out of all of these bad boys. He has the lowest arcane, but it doesn't really matter. You know, you got that sword and board, you got heavy armor, but that also means that you start with heavy load, which means you're pretty heavily encumbered, and you cannot roll decently fast. You're gonna have that slow roll that doesn't really avoid anything. And you know, for new players, they might not recognize that. What you can do is just unequip a piece of your armor. I don't know, a helmet or something. I don't know exactly how much you need to lower it, or maybe I think you start with 2 weapons, so you can maybe unequip one of the weapons. You do that, you get to medium load, and you can be rolling much faster. This is a very, very good start for a lot of starting players, because you have that protection, you have that survivability, so even if you make mistakes, you'll be able to survive longer, to maybe see more patterns than you then recognize, and be able to dodge enemies. So I think this bad boy is a very solid, high-level B tier. I'm not gonna put it in A, because I think Hero is still better than Vagabond. Hero still does have that kind of a shield thing, but it also has a big axe with good strength build. You can just smack things out. You shouldn't really just be going health, but maybe for a new player, health can actually really do some good stuff over here. So there you go, Vagabond, directly in the middle, but almost up to the A. Almost up to the A, but not quite there yet. Next on the list, we have the Warrior. So Warrior starts with 2 scimitars. If you want to, you can just wield 1, but you have 2, so you can go whoop whoop, you know, both sides, just swing crazily. He's got the highest dexterity. You know, you're just this whirlwind of death, but you do have medium armor. So while you're, you know, close to Vagabond in kind of the idea of how you work, you are still squishier, and because you are a new player, you might get locked into these animations of just swinging wildly, you know, just going crazy and swinging at the enemy, and then the enemy is gonna interrupt you with a crazy attack. You won't be able to roll out fast, and suddenly your HP is gonna be like this tiny little thing, just like your penis. Never mind. You know, you're not gonna survive it. You're gonna get greedy, you're gonna get killed, right? This bad boy is more focused on dodging enemies, so you'll really have to learn how to roll at the proper timing and dodge, which is something new players to these Souls-like games struggle the most with. So in that case, while I would otherwise put it into like B, I think I'm gonna put it out here in C, but still probably like the highest C. Almost could be B. It's, you know, it's a cool class. It's a warrior. You got those double wielding scimitars. You got highest dexterity and all that stuff. But I still think like C over there, it's where it belongs. And of course, in the end, You guys have probably seen it coming now, so I don't even need to rank it. It's the Wretch. And you would ask, Coco, why the fuck would you put Wretch as the S tier when you're ranking stuff for beginners? You basically just ruined the whole tier list by putting the Wretch, the naked boy or lady, into S tier. Let me tell you. So all of these guys start at a higher level, from like level 5 to level 10, right? Rat starts at level 1. It has all the stats the same at 10. Well, these guys have stuff up to like 15, 16, and then some stats lower to like 7, maybe 6 even, something like that, right? They're more built for something. Now, I will tell you why Wretch. Wretch starts naked, you have no gear, right? You do have a club which you can swing with one hand or in both hands. Now, I will tell you why you should play as a Wretch. This is a very special game. You shouldn't mindfuck yourself in going into a certain class that you think you will enjoy playing and then figure out later on that maybe that's not the best for you, and then you're gonna have to kind of rebuild the whole thing, you know, while you already had quite a lot of points in this one thing. Wretch is the pure experience. People are gonna be, oh, Wretch is so horrible, so tough, so rough. It's no different, right? You'll start in there, sure, instead of with 3 hits, you're gonna kill an enemy in 4 hits. You will easily get a bunch of runes right from the start, put a couple of levels, maybe 2 into HP, and then maybe 2 in one of the things that you want to focus on, like strength or dex, or faith or intelligence, or, you know, mind, whatever. And then you'll be almost on par with any of these classes, right? Getting your first 5 levels is gonna take you a couple of, I don't know, I'm not gonna say minutes. It's gonna take you like half an hour, especially if you explore around, like an hour. It's not gonna take long, basically what I'm saying. And you will have that pure experience of you just being a naked dude against the whole world. An experience you won't forget. Trust me. There is a reason this thing is an S tier. It allows you to be anything you want, build it anything you want, which I guess all of them allow you to do that. But still, Wretch, if you really want to have a true experience, do not be afraid to go in naked. Do not be afraid to die. Do not be afraid to lose your runes that you might lose on death. You can always recover them. Even if you don't be afraid. Don't worry about it. You will have the best experience with Wretch. Trust me, believe me on this, and I hope you enjoyed this whole tier list. Now let's see in the comments down below how many ugly and nasty words you're gonna say for my subjective ranking of this, because I know there's gonna be a lot of people doing that. They always do when I rank stuff. Thank you for watching. I'll see you